Festival International Delegate Program. And Emma is in the house. Hi,
Hey,
Emma.
Jay.
How
Hi,
you doing?
I'm awesome. How about you?
I'm very, very well. So we're
Great.
talking origin stories. Now you have to walk me through your origin story. How did you do the All African Women Poetry Festival?
Oh, that's quite a long story. that's quite a long story. I think the initial conversations had been to start prior to COVID, and so in 2019-ish, we started to have the conversation. Rhyme Sonny and I had brainstormed, and I had talked about wanting to, on the back of publishing my debut book, I Wish You Courage in the Night Season, I had come back to Ghana and realized there were too many opportunities out there, but there were more men on the stages than women. And I wondered why it was that complicated to have many women tell the story. Because if we'll be very honest, African women are some of the best storytellers
That's
ever.
very true.
And because of the level of awareness that most women have, we're more in tune with naming specific emotions, and poetry is really about giving language to our shared human experiences. And so who best to do that than the women who literally are front facing most of the day-to-day lives. I mean, men are too, but women are more articulate
Absolutely.
at it. So I got back and I thought I wanted to have a show, a concert, something to promote the book, but I didn't want it to be about just me, because then I had been to spaces that pulled off events in 24 hours in foreign lands. I got to Amsterdam, and in 48 hours, about 170 people had gathered just to listen to my poetry, and they had never heard about me. So I wanted to create that here in Ghana for the African people, and also for the people in the diaspora. And when we brainstormed, we thought, why not do something African-based, international? And I thought, well, I've always done events. I've always done poetry programming since 2010, all the way from campus. And so, but I haven't done an international thing that spans more than a day. And he said, well, the same energy, which is rhyme, he said the same energy it takes to do something small is the same energy you need to do something big. And I'm like, well, this is huge, and it's quite the stretch, but we did, and we took the leap. But COVID happened, and so we couldn't pull off the 2019. So in 2023 we had the first edition ever, and it was held in partnership with the British Council, which we hosted there, and brought 6 poets from 5 African countries.
Amazing.
2 were from Ghana, and the rest were from 4 other countries. And we held the conference, and it was beautiful. We had over 180 people in attendance at just the closing concert, and it was spanning 4 days, right?
Wow.
So that was great, and we were like, okay, let's go again. And this time around, I had people jump on board, the likes of Dr. Ansong, who came in and said, well, I see you, like, I think when you look at me, I think the swan effect is the most way I would use to describe myself, because it's very graceful and composed on the surface. But if you're really close, you see that, Charlie, there are 1,001 engines churning at the same time. So she had seen that, and she thought, well, I want to be useful. So however you think I can support. And Dr. Anson has been very phenomenal from 2024 all the way down to now. And then we had the likes of Michelle Opon step in this year, which we had our edition in May, and this year I gave up. I was done, because it had been 3 years of bootstrapping and still trying to find some funding, and it's huge, and I'm like, who sent me? It's like,
honestly,
but how it's like, you know what, we've done some, it's okay, we'll be pardoned. Nobody's marking, like, if we're not here, they won't see it. But Prof. Sutherland was like, no, you have to push through, find a way, think about it. I know you think about something. I spoke to the likes of Uncle Ebo, and he was like, I think Uncle said something that kept me pushing, and he said, dream like you have a father. And that statement for me was, I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, why are you here dreaming like an orphan child? Like, you have a father, so dare boldly. And that had been a conversation we had when we had our edition in Kenya. So in 2024, we had 2 editions, one in Ghana, one in Kenya. And when I got back from Kenya, I was done. I'm like, you know what? It's fine.
Yeah.
Like,
It stretched you.
this is not how we die. This is really not how we die. Kenya stretched me. So when I got back, I was done. And then Uncle said what he said. So this year, when I thought about it, I was really at my wit's end. And I said, this is not happening. And everybody was emailing me at the same time, like, when are the flyers coming out? I want to be here for this edition. I'm like, people sleep. Like,
I don't know if it's coming on.
I don't know if it's coming on. And I really didn't know, because then I had also lost my dad a couple of months prior to the edition happening. So I really didn't know that it was happening. And every conversation I had, I said maybe we'll have it next year. But we put it off. And we had a fully virtual edition and had over 800 people subscribing to participate, and had over 98% turnout of people staying through. And it was on a Monday.
Wow.
People were at work. And people we had 11 countries present online.
Wow.
And people were really at work but still tuned in to listen. And it spoke to the impact that this is having, and the necessary conversations that are going on, and how people are getting to know that literature is a path to pursue. And if you put in the work, there are opportunities out there. And I think my goal has been that it serves as the springboard to make sure that many women's stories do not just remain stories, but they are platformed, they are amplified, and they are brought to the spotlight. And that has been partly the journey to this point.
I love that. Tell me about going to Momentum 2026.
So Momentum is huge. Like, again, listening to this, that we've traveled, we've done a lot of international work with this project, but Momentum is different, and it's huge in the sense that it's a delegate only conference. And it means you don't apply. It means you are just there minding your business, and somebody says, we see you, and we're putting you on board. And I got the email that we had been selected for our work, and so you get to go pitch your project, you get to interact with other cultural curators, you get to talk to persons of industry in Scotland and share the journey, and also see what possible collaborations there could be. And I know the potential is endless, because what happens, or what tends to happen in such spaces, is that you get to connect with people who are ready to do programming here, and then it goes beyond just me and my project. It's like the literary space, the literary ecosystem in Ghana gets to benefit if such a project gets to cross over, or if we get to contact people who are willing to fund it, then it means we can have bigger, much better programming and bring more people on board. So Momentum was a divine encounter. I think Era used divine, and the word is divine for me too. It was a kind of mercy that said, we see the journey, and this is not where it ends. And for me, that validation was enough to lift me up, because again, I think when I finished this year's edition, I was ready to close the chapter and go. Give yourself like 2 years break. go focus on just living and being human, and come back. But it's the kind of mercy that says, you don't give up now. No, we don't end here. We keep pushing. And so I'm excited for the opportunity, and thanks to the British Council for making that a possibility.
I'm so excited for both of you. But I'm going to come to what we can expect on the platform. So if you're just tuning in, I'm having an amazing conversation with two very phenomenal women. The one you just heard is Ofosua. She's the founding director of the All African Women Poetry Festival. She is going to be a part of Momentum 2026, the prestigious Edinburgh Festival International Delegate Program. And I'm also here with Awura Abena, German, founder of Republic of Africa, where Ghana, and representing Ghana at the Africa Fashion Week London. Now coming to building African brands for international audiences, and I'll start with you, Rabna. I mean, you created a clothing brand that will live beyond you for many more centuries to come. Now, what goes into the planning process of creating garments, not just for the regular Ghanaian person, but for people to be able to appreciate all across the world?
What a question. I mean, what goes into creating the products? Where my head leads me to is even beyond the products. Like you mentioned, it's a brand, you know, and a brand is a promise. There's this thing that I like to talk about, where made in Germany is a brand, right?
Yes.
And you don't question it after some time.
That's true.
Right now, made in China is
a brand.
And for us as an organization, those are the thoughts and aspirations that drive everything from the clothing we design to the way we show up, to the way we engage with our customers, to the events we would put together. When we started Wear Ghana, the name in and of itself tells you what we're trying to do. This is back in 2013. People were not wearing clothing made here. They wore it to funerals, engagements, and sometimes have a slate to church.
That's true.
And I've told you how, through the work that I did with New York University, I was wondering, but if the world wants our fashion, why are we sitting on that opportunity?
That's true.
So we're designing, looking at Ghana and encouraging Ghanaians to wear Ghana, but we're designing also for the world. Which is why when we're creating the Gigi, for example, the thinking was, look at the polo shirt. It's such a simple thing.
Yes.
And yet people have 10, 12 different colors in their wardrobes. I love fashion. I like looking good. I like wearing strange things. But what I like even more than the fashion is the economics of it all.
That's true.
When brands scale, it's economic power. So if you look at Nike, for example, Nike employs about 87,000 people. Think of what 10 Nikes will do for unemployment in Ghana.
That's true.
We can look at Shein. I'm not a fan of the work they do because it's fast fashion, which really is harmful for the earth. But Shein's revenues last year was about a third of Ghana's GDP.
Hey, here I did.
So it's these are the thoughts that run through our minds when we are creating, from the products to how we are delivering them to the communities we try to build around the work that we are doing. For us, it's an economic force that we are building so that we can contribute to solving the problems that we are passionate about solving here in Ghana and across the African continent. I don't know if this answers your question, but
I think
these
it
are the
does.
thoughts that
I
run
think it
through
does.
my mind.
I think it does. Do you think we creatives in general underestimate? I'll come to you, Emma, on that. Underestimate the effect of African stories in global storytelling?
I think to some extent we do, and it's partly an exposure conversation because you don't see how far this is traveling or what impact is taking place or how it's even shifting the economics of a people or of a country or what is happening to the value system of a people. If you want to look at the values of a society, look at how they treat things of culture.
Yeah, sure.
And so because we're not putting numbers and putting stats to what we're doing, we're not able to measure the extent to which it's traveling, but it is traveling. And social media is such a powerful tool that has made the world a really global village and a global stage, such that if you put in some consistency, the world has no option but to stop and listen to what you're saying. So yes, there is a great opportunity for our stories to impact or to have great impact on the global stage, but it's how much of a support do we have for our ecosystem here, because again, out there the opportunities that fund culture exist, and they're not asking how much profit is this bringing immediately, because they understand the role culture and promoting it plays in building a society, and so funds are set up, organizations are set up just to support creatives and creative work. Is the work that we are trying to do here to build this ecosystem and the structure that supports creativity in a way that allows the creative to create without thinking about the economics of it, or because that hinders creativity and productivity in that sense. But we have a great role to play on the global storytelling stage.
I like that. Then I want to ask you both, maybe a little personal, but the biggest challenges you faced personally in building the brands that you have into the platforms it has become. If you can list some of the biggest, because, and I'm sure over the journey there have been quite a bit, but which ones have been the biggest that you've had to surmount? Even perhaps you haven't been able to surmount it.
The roughest.
Yeah, I'll start. I mean, it's been 12 years. Yeah, that time I was like, 12 years a slave. It's been 12 years. It's been 12 years. For me, the biggest challenge has been the human challenge. The challenge of finding the people who build with you. Because many of us come into this, it's a hobby, it's a passion, and passion is nice and beautiful until you've done it for 12 years.
That's true.
And you can't build a global business alone.
That's true.
Even if it's, you know how we say AI will help us build the next what? it will take some human beings believing in the thing
to be able to help you.
So when I count my scars, the deepest ones have come from the human relationships. Whether it's an employee, my co-founder and I, we sacrificed blood, sweat, tears on this altar because we came into this as best friends. Very naive. We are building together and very quickly learned that what sustains a friendship is not what sustains a business relationship.
Absolutely.
And we had to grow and the relationship had to evolve. We are still in healing, I think. But for me, it has been the human cost of it all because there's a saying, and it's very true. If you put the right people on the bus, they will drive it to the right place. So it's finding who those right people are to come on the journey with us. That said, the biggest blessings have also been humans. It's human beings who have opened every single door. Like, I didn't even know about the Africa Fashion Week London, shame on me, but I didn't even know about it. Someone who knew about it had to tell me to apply. And that's been the way it is. If we look at the brand we've built, Wear Ghana, and the love that people have for us, we are a love mark. Yesterday I was shout out to Ochiame Kwame, who has been a pillar of support even before the brand came. Because I made him some stuff before Wear Ghana came into existence, but he was telling me, do you realize that the brand has actualized?
Yes.
Because right now, we as the people who came in for the clothing, we don't even care about the clothing so much as we want to see you succeed.
Yes.
Because in you, we see someone who is passionate about the things we are passionate about. So yeah, I mean.
Now, with yours in particular, do you foresee yourself becoming a fully automated? Do you think that would be something that you would consider, automating the whole process to scale up? Or do you always think that there must be that Ghanaian human touch?
Not just Ghanaian human touch, because right now the reason we launched Republic of Africa was we've done this in Ghana. Yes, we are still growing in Ghana, but this dream was always for Africa and the diaspora. How do we build a vehicle that allows us to address the continent and the diaspora, which is also validation that Africa Fashion Week, London, wants us on that stage. But to fully automate, listen, I love AI. ChatGPT is a very good friend of mine, Claude as well. But I look at them both with one eye like this. Because if you pay attention to the AI conversations, you can see just how dangerous it's becoming when you listen to the leaders, those 5 people at the top of the AI industry. Right now, the motivations are becoming very, very interesting. So AI is amazing for becoming efficient. And for me, that's what I'm interested in. I'm not interested in the buzzwords. I'm interested in what does this really do for the business. And Emma said something about creativity. If you compare human creativity to AI creativity, we still beat it hands down.
I can agree.
And so as a brand that is using fashion not only to make clothes, but to re-engineer the way we think about ourselves as a people. Because really, that's what we are trying to do. We are trying to use the clothing as a very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's Emma who has all the words. But clothing as a non-confrontational way to address our identity as a people. We want Africans to wake up knowing that there's no problem we cannot solve by ourselves. And over the years, we've been told a certain story about that we are inadequate, that we are less than. We have really believed it. Right now, nobody has to tell us. We say it to ourselves.
Honestly.
We are using fashion to change those mindsets. AI cannot do it for us.
I like that.
It will be Africans sat at the table using AI and machines to get to the end goal that we want.
I like that. Now let's come to challenges with you, Emma. What have been the biggest challenges in creating the brand that you have and having been able to even overcome them?
It's interesting where Era started from in listing her challenge, because I think that I like Jonathan McReynolds' song where he talks about people. They are the best and the worst you created. So the blessing and the curse have been humans.
Yes.
But I think yesterday I was recounting with a friend, and I backtrack. I digress a bit to come back to the conversation, and I was talking about how the pivotal part of relationships is pretty much just to have a witness along the journey with you, someone who gets to see the phases you've evolved through. And so I was talking to one of such people for me, and we're just talking about how I almost gave up last year, and the person was asking, so what have you learned from this process? And I thought the biggest lesson or the biggest challenge has been me getting out of my way and growing to become the person that can carry this brand or build this platform to where it needs to get to, overcoming the things that are limitations for me as a person. And that is how I dealt with people, how I personalize things. And again, you as creatives, we're very in touch with the emotional, but you cannot run a human-led institution on that premise where you're dealing with many creatives who also flow on that same skill. So I had to be that person that lives in that duality of being fully structural and business, but also still maintaining my creativity. That has been one. But it's also just been the people, because the people you started with are not the people that are carrying you through. And you can't expect them to be as hungry and as itchy and as driven as you are in pushing this. And I'm writing a Substack article right now about really just like friendship or pals, professional people that we build with, but are also our friends. And so I'm thinking through all of that, and I think people have been the biggest challenge because the consistency of them have been very volatile in that sense. But the other thing has just also been trying to make a case for creativity in this part of our world. Every table you are sat at is asking you for numbers and asking you for ROIs and asking you for things that I had to quickly figure out how to get those language straight, because it's like, okay, I am talking about a thing that is important. I am talking about a thing of culture. I'm talking about something that is values-based, and we are struggling with flooding and filth and our environmental things. And I'm talking about addressing the value system of our people. And you're asking me for numbers. So I'm just here trying to figure out, okay, if the people shift, it affects the economics, but I can't immediately produce the economics for you, because what I'm working towards is intangible. It's culture in that sense of the intangibility of things. And so making the case or the business case for what we're doing has been one of the biggest challenges, but it's also been an exciting learning curve, because now I'm able to sit at conversations and articulate that rightly and let them see that there are prospects. But I have also come to understand it. So I'm not just touting rhetoric. I am saying this on fact, and I have the data to back it. And I tell you how many people are showing up, and I'm showing you the Venn diagram of who came and who stayed and how that has affected their own economics and how many people they're hiring. But also it's just showing